Couple of things. This Friday night, I was reached out to by perennial NBA All-Star Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is a star for the New York Knicks, a career 24.7 point per game scorer, a perennial all-star, one of the greatest offensive players of the modern day generation, and somebody that I openly and publicly acknowledged I had a huge, huge problem with. Carmelo Anthony has been in the league for 13 years. Carmelo Anthony has played in one conference finals. Carmelo Anthony has never played in an NBA finals. And he's been bounced out of the first round of the NBA playoffs 8 times. So when I saw a quote from him last week, and it essentially alluded to him talking about even if there is no NBA championship, he still would have had a great career because he'd have 3 gold medals, assuming they win this Olympics, which is not a foregone conclusion based on what we've seen the last 3 games from them against Australia, Serbia, and obviously France yesterday. But if they end up winning, Carmelo Anthony would have played in 2008. He would have played in 2012. He's playing in 2016 and would have 3 gold medals. He's already the all-time leading scorer in Olympic history for Team USA. Here's the deal. I had a problem with Carmelo Anthony. And I had a problem with him because I thought his quotes came across as somebody who believes that it would be perfectly fine if he just captured gold medals and never captured an NBA championship, that he would be absolutely cool, everything would be great and peachy keen and all of that other stuff. I was pissed off. And I was ticked off because I don't want to hear that from a guy that's got, in my opinion, at least 5 years to go in his NBA career, who's playing for my New York Knicks, who haven't won a championship since 1973. I didn't want to hear that. Not even a little bit. It ticked me off. And I went off. Then sometime Friday night, after Team USA escaped with a hard-fought victory, Carmelo Anthony reached out to me. Not going to repeat his words, partially because all the details of his words are none of your business. The other part of the reason is because I don't think it's fit to repeat over FCC airwaves, even though these are not FCC airwaves. He was pretty pissed off. I'm just going to let y'all know that right now. Carmelo Anthony was not happy. I've dealt with players who have not been happy with me before. I'm kind of used to it. I mean, I say hi and bye to LeBron. You know, his little stepbrother, Kevin Durant, ain't the fondest person in the world when it comes to Stephen A. Smith. I get all that. I could give a damn. Because I know I got love, nothing but love for LeBron James, and I appreciate everything that he is. And if he doesn't feel the same way about me, he's entitled. Kevin Durant, I think much was overblown about our little spat with one another. He just called me a liar, and I had to check him on that. But I think Kevin Durant is a great person, one of the top 3 players in the world. I have to admit Carmelo Anthony's a little bit different. Carmelo Anthony is somebody I've known for over a decade. He's somebody that I consider to be a really, really good brother. I got a lot of love for him. I got a personal relationship with him. And I got to be honest with you, y'all. He was justified in getting on me. I can slice it any way I want to. He got me on this one. Because first order of business is that his quotes were misconstrued. Under no circumstances did he ever mean to come across as somebody that was saying that gold medals is what he's shooting for and that the NBA championship is not a priority. And his whole thing is that hear the entire interview, the context in which the questions were asked and answered. And you know that's not what I was saying. Not to mention the fact that I still have years to go and I'm still hungry for an NBA championship and I still have unfinished business. He said all of this. I did not know that. And then to make matters worse, where he really got me, ladies and gentlemen, was the ultimate thing that I pride myself on. I never called him. Melo has been in Spain before. He's been in London before. He's been in France before. He's been in other parts of this world before. And I never called him because he was in Rio for the Olympics, and I thought that they were inaccessible, treating the Olympics differently than any other time. Because his biggest problem was, why didn't you call me? And he's right. I was wrong. And I owe Carmelo Anthony an apology. It's just that simple. In this business, when you have the kind of access that I have been blessed and fortunate enough to have with various players in various professional sports, you don't make the mistake or drop the ball of not calling them before you go in, especially like I go in. I usually do that. It's rare in my career where I've ever made the mistake of failing to do so. But because Carmelo Anthony was at the Olympics, and he had a game that day, and he was in Rio de Janeiro, I'm of the mindset that he's unreachable and inaccessible. I should have called him. He's right about that. And there's no way to slice that. Especially when it comes to him, because he never hesitates to get back to me. He never hesitates to reach back out and explain his point of view. He deserved better from me. Period. I dropped the ball. That is why I owe him an apology. I'll be damned if I owe anybody an apology for saying prioritize NBA championships when you get paid $122 million a year and you're playing for a franchise that hasn't won an NBA title since 1973. I'll be damned if I owe anybody an apology for that. I'll be damned if I owe anybody an apology if they truly mean that gold medals are more valuable than an NBA championship in this day and age, particularly when you already have 2 on your resume. I'll be damned if I owe anybody an apology for that. But directly and specifically, as it pertains to him, I always called them before. I should have called them Friday. And in this business, it's real easy and it's real popular for people to just say what they have to say and go on about their business and never put themselves in a position to be confronted and corrected by the professional athletes they talk about. I don't live by that credo. I'm the kind of person, any chance I get, I make sure a professional athlete has my number and that they can reach out to me. Because the last thing I want to do is be inaccessible. When I talked about Josh Norman last week, he reached out. When I've talked about Deshaun Jackson or AI or Kobe or Chris Paul or D Wade or somebody in the past, they've reached out. I make sure that if, whether directly or indirectly, every single professional athlete that I potentially have access to, or I'm going to talk about, they have access to me. I'm not hard to reach. I pride myself in that. And I violated my own standard by not reaching out to Melo. And it ain't too many professional athletes in the world that I owed that courtesy to more than I owed to Carmelo Anthony. The fact that I didn't call him is bad. Because he always gets back to me. That was on me. That's my fault. And for that, I owe him an apology. Because had I spoken to him, I might not have been so hardcore in what I had to say, getting his perspective on things. Lesson learned. Won't happen again.